So I let you introduce the other one. I'm introducing this one. All right, guess what? The best part about this game is the fact that for some reason, you didn't lose it. You were faithful through the whole thing. But you know what we said at the beginning of the year? At the beginning of the year, we said the Rams and 49ers could be the two best teams in the NFC and play a game week 18 of the season that meant that the winner of that game would be the 1 seed going into the playoffs. That didn't turn out to be the case. However, we were right about the other part of that, which is that they are technically the two best teams in the NFC because they have ended up in the NFC title game. So, I'm not trying to say anything, but I mean, half the stuff we say on this channel turns out to be 100% correct. The other half, we may not hit on, but the fact that half of it is like dead on is pretty impressive, and you should subscribe for that reason alone. Okay, now let's actually get into the game. First off, before we actually start talking about that, I want to mention that if the Chiefs win, the Chiefs game is earlier. If the Chiefs win, I hope that the Rams win this game. If the Bengals win the first game, I hope the 49ers win this game. This game, I'm not rooting for a team as much as the Chiefs won, because the Chiefs already won their Super Bowl a few years ago. The Rams and Niners lost their Super Bowls when they went to them and we watched, so I don't care. One of them is going to go back, and then hopefully one of them, if they play the Chiefs, can win. If they play the Bengals, I'll just have fun watching it. Mm-hmm. Okay, but the reasoning that I want these teams to match up like this is because if the Niners go back and play the Bengals, it's a rematch of a Super Bowl that we never got to saw, which would be awesome to see a Super Bowl rematch. I think that's an awesome storyline. And on the other hand, if we get the Rams to go back against the Chiefs, we may get the steroid version of that 54-51 shootout from, 3 or 4 years ago now? I mean, I don't see any reason that can't happen again with those two offenses going onto the field, honestly. I think the Rams have the offensive firepower to do it for a whole game against a Chiefs defense that I don't think is that good, and I think the Chiefs are hot enough that they could do it again. So either Super Bowl rematch or finally get the steroids version of that game, especially because I think Patrick Mahomes is on a new level and Matt Stafford is obviously an upgrade from Jared Goff. So those would be great. But yeah, there's my intro.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning the same way you are. I mean, if Cincinnati wins, I really don't care what team wins the next game. It doesn't bother me. But if Kansas City wins, I'd want the Rams to win because I don't want to watch a rematch of a Super Bowl I've already seen before.
Yeah.
And yeah, the potential for the steroid version of that game would be great. And I mean, what would that be? Super Bowl 23? Super Bowl 23
Don't
rematch?
ask me. Don't ask me.
I think that would be Super Bowl 23 rematch. Of Cincinnati San Fran would be great. I mean, and both of these teams are very likable where I could root for either one of them if they make it to the Super Bowl. Where like Matt Stafford in his first year with a team that isn't the Lions goes all the way to the Super Bowl is hilarious. And I'm sorry, Lions fans. It's just like, wow. Like, Stafford has consistently been great all season, but it's like he's that good that it's just like being in Detroit, this stopped this man from getting to the Super Bowl. And then San Fran is just like, I mean, they have no idea what they want to do with their quarterback situation, and they somehow like trip and fall and tumble and get like 5 concussions on the team all the way into the Super Bowl, which is funny.
Listen, I know the Niners. See, this is the other fun part about championship weekend. The Rams are favored. The Chiefs are favored. Both of them, in the 3 games where these matchups have occurred this season, the underdogs for this weekend have won. All of them. Because San Fran beat LA twice, and the Bengals beat the Chiefs once. So that's fun, but like the thing that's screwy about this one is the fact that San Fran has also, to get to this point, lost about, every single competent player on their roster to some sort of injury that will either keep them out of this game and or affect them during this game. One of the things that you maybe could have argued for the game in Lambeau is the fact that it was so cold that they couldn't feel their injuries because it was practically like they were icing them during the game. That's not going to be the case in warm LA this time of year, and maybe not too warm, maybe only like 50s or 60s, but that's not going to be cold enough to ice those injuries anymore, and they may be feeling them in that weather. Yeah, I think that's going to hurt these guys a lot. We should really applaud Kyle Shanahan as like coach of the year. I hate that all the awards are basically just based on the regular season because basically all the stuff he has done this year and had to like come back from and like go against, and I mean just consistently having success with like Jimmy Garoppolo when this is such a quarterback driven league is like one of the most amazing things in the world.
Yeah, and just I'll give a lot of props to Shanahan because I feel like any other coach, and even us in the situation he's in, as soon as they would have struggled a little bit, it would have been like, all right, this season's a wash. Just put Trey Lance in. We're done. We're just gonna see what this kid's got. And it's still like, let's wheel Jimmy G's carcass out there and then scheme up some really exotic motions. Put Trent Williams in there at wingback and let's do something crazy here. To win football games is awesome. And just overcoming all the injuries that the Niners have seemed to deal with almost every season now, where it's just, yeah, everyone's hurt. All right, well, I got to find some way to make this work so we can win games.
Yes. And another reason to watch the show here, if you haven't, going through the whole offseason, both of us said one of the best safeties in the draft, Talanoa Hufanga, was a guy that somebody needed to get, and 49ers were smart enough to draft him, and guess what? Divisional round weekend, he scores on the punt block return for a touchdown, and then he also, you have to realize, at a point in the game when the Packers need to go score, helps break up a pass on a deep ball from Aaron Rodgers that basically stalls out a drive and allows the 49ers to get the ball back and go score and win the game. So another reason to continue watching this channel if you're not already.
And Troy Aikman uses our draft comp for him as well when he makes that play there. So pretty cool.
Yes, I mean,
pretty cool that Troy Aikman watches the show.
Yeah, Troy Aikman watches the show. If Troy Aikman watches the show, that is amazing. And you know what, if Troy Aikman watches the show, I mean, really, like he's probably like low tier in terms of my commentator tier list. But if he watches the show, he's top tier now. Like come on, thank you, Troy, for watching. Yeah, but back to like schematics and stuff, which we really haven't touched on in terms of what these guys do besides what they did kind of last week against the Packers. The Rams aren't going to switch anything. The Rams don't have any serious injuries to deal with unless you want to point out the fact that Robert Woods isn't playing and is just being replaced by Odell Beckham. I mean, the only thing I may say is that, well, okay, you get a little worse run blocking. I think Odell's plenty good in the receiving game to make up for whatever Woods misses. And now that he's got his beautiful looking arm sleeve that he's going to wear every week of the playoffs, that combo looks amazing. The one over another, I never thought of that. I wish I had first. But that looks great. He's playing great, and the Rams offense is looking great. If you get rid of the Cam Akers fumbles, which by the way, bad showing from the FSU boys in terms of the end of that Rams game. Akers fumbled, Jalen getting beat deep. Yeah, let's look past that for a moment and hope they have better games this Sunday. But yeah, besides those fumbles from Akers, man, these guys probably could have put up 44 against the Bucs, if not more. And they were moving the ball well, so I don't have any issue with their offense. The defensive side of the ball, obviously they're still strong. It doesn't feel like they have a weak spot on that defense. Incredibly, we're at the. It's always funny to see like what position teams are really lacking at when you get this far into it, and it's to like identify like what position is not important. It's like, who is the linebacker in the championship weekend besides Fred Warner that you want to pick out and be like, that guy's a big playmaker? Like the second name is like Nick Bolton and he's a rookie for Kansas City. Like it's like, wow, not too much linebacker talk to go on here, and Fred Warner's pretty injured still for the Niners. But in terms of the Rams' defensive side of the ball, obviously the secondary is very solid in my opinion, and the defensive line is crazy. So the Niners need to figure out how to slow the pass rush down and get some passes out that aren't going to be, you know, giving the Rams many opportunities to make plays and force turnovers off them, because they are definitely a defense that can do that thing. And you probably want to work some sort of run scheme to take advantage of the real lack at the linebacker position, at least in terms of not having a superstar there, unlike the other positions they have on the team. What are you thinking in terms of the Rams defense?
Yeah, if the Niners want to beat the Rams defense, because it is just so good, just the front four is so good. To beat it, you're going to need a solid run game, which they have, and I think I know what Shanahan might do. He's been saving it in his pocket the whole playoffs. I think I know what he's going to pull out Trey Lance now to run some option plays with him. And I was expecting him to do it at some point in the Green Bay game, just when Jimmy was looking really worn down there. I'm like, it's like 3rd and 2, and you're running it into the line, and it's getting stuffed. Why not just pull out an option play with Trey Lance? Just see what that does. But I think he's been keeping it in his pocket just to give it one last push all the chips into the middle. Like, we're going to the Super Bowl, and then probably get beat there because he just pushed all of his chips in the table for the NFC game. But a strong run game is what's gonna, at least neutralize one aspect of the Rams' defense, which they really, they beat them twice already. So Shanahan knows what works and what doesn't. But bringing that wild card of Trey Lance into this one, that'd be pretty great to see.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking based off that. I was thinking, my mind moved around a bunch in terms of like scheming things and stuff because you're talking about Trey Lance. And I'm just wondering, should we literally have a devoted portion of the show every week, like if possible? I mean, obviously some weekends, like this weekend and Super Bowl weekend in the future, we just talk about like end of game scenarios, literally just in one standalone video each week, because it's like, man, there's so many things to talk about in terms of end of game situations, and you can talk about individual things at the start of the game, but so many games come down to the end, and I think that's something we probably should do in the future. But getting back to this, yes, I actually think that would help them a lot, because I think they need to throw the ball short and run the ball effectively, but they seemingly don't have any issue running the ball. They have one of the best run schemes in the NFL. It really comes down to what they can do, passing the ball short to move the ball and try to control the game, because they need to make their possessions last a long time. If they have short possessions, that means they're not scoring, because they're not going to be like one play touchdowns unless you get Debo into space. That's basically the only way I see that happening, because they're not going to be able to go down the field or anything else like that. Or you could break off a run with one of the other running backs, but it's either a short pass to Debo or a run that breaks big, which are less likely than deep shots, because this team is not going to be able to go to deep with the way how Jimmy G is not playing, how healthy he is. That is what is preventing him from doing that. And with that being the case, that's a big threat. And I don't think Kittle's really healthy enough either to break off really any big breakaway, running angry type plays where he catches the ball and runs after the catch. They can make their normal average plays, but nothing beyond that. So they need long drives, and they need to control the clock with runs and short passes, like I said. The Rams, on the other hand, the interesting thing about the Rams is they basically always run the same scheme. They'll take shots throughout the game. They'll have their play actions, their jet motions, their handoffs to the jet backs, their handoffs off the jet motions, play actions off the jet motions, everything. Just quick, short game and normal runs too. But the thing that gives the Rams a huge advantage in this game is that their playbook is basically wide open, while the 49ers is not at all. And I would say in terms of how these teams play as team defenses, I would say they're just about even, because somehow the Niners play about the best team defense possible without having a crazy number of high talent names. And the Rams, on the other hand, have a mediocre, what I would say, scheme in terms of how they play team defense. But those stars are all over the place, and that gives them a crazy advantage as well. And with the defenses being even, I feel like the better offense is going to prevail, and especially with the injuries the Niners are facing. So I'll go ahead and say that I'm picking the Rams in this game, but I've counted the Niners out of 2 games so far, and they've won both of them. So, hey, if it continues, I'm cool with it because I don't really care who wins this weekend. Just give me some more good football. And boy, we were in for a treat last weekend in terms of 4 amazing playoff games. So I guess I wouldn't be surprised if the odds fall out the window saying, oh, well, you got 4 good ones in a row. These next 2 got to be not too good. And we have 2 games this weekend that aren't even where neither is a 1-score game in the end.
Well, San Fran has been a Super Bowl pick for me the whole season. I mean, in the off season, I never really lost faith with them. I mean, I pointed out that they had their doldrums where it was like this team. I mean, and then they might have not made the playoffs, but they did, and I've picked them to win every single game they've played in, and I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm picking them to win this game. Uh, I want to see this Super Bowl rematch between the Bengals and the Niners, and I think it would be really sick to see that happen. And because I think it gives the Bengals the best shot to win the Super Bowl if the Niners are there.
Okay, well, I have a question though. If the Niners play the Bengals in the Super Bowl again, which side is Montana playing for this time?
Ooh. I mean,
I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. If we get to that point next week, it's going to be great because I think you'll be obligated to pick San Francisco, but I'm not even really sure if you're going to be rooting for them. So I hope we get to that point. That'll be a blast.
Next week we're picking the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
we're picking the Pro Bowl winner next week.
Okay, cool. We have 2 weeks of prep for the Super Bowl every year, but boy, is Pro Bowl week like a lull. Pro Bowl week may be more annoying than the entire offseason combined, honestly. Like, I hate having to deal with all that Pro Bowl stuff. Oh my gosh. Anyways, 2 weeks from now, when we pick that game, I really hope it's either Bengals Niners or Chiefs Rams, so we can have more fun talking about each of those. And we can expand on that discussion then. Are you all set?
Yeah, I think we can cut this here.